People always talk about red flags when moving into a new place. Bad neighbors, strange landlords, pest infestations. But no one ever warns you about the air, the stillness, the weight of it, the way it feels wrong, even when nothing looks out of place. I learned that the hard way. In 2019, I moved into a basement apartment with my best friend, Luke. We were both 26, broke, and tired of living with strangers. It was supposed to be a short-term thing, 6 months max. We thought we were being smart, splitting rent, saving cash, having fun. It made perfect sense. We lasted 5 weeks, and I'm not even sure I ever actually left. The place looked fine at first. It was on a quiet street on the outskirts of town, just far enough away from traffic to feel peaceful, but not so remote that it felt cut off. It had a decent layout, 2 small bedrooms, a living area, a kitchenette, and a hallway that led to a storage closet. It wasn't fancy, but it was clean, dry, and cheap, almost too cheap. But the moment we stepped through the door, I felt it. There were no sounds, not muffled footsteps above us, not the hum of the fridge, not creaky pipes or ticking clocks or traffic outside. It was dead silent, not the peaceful kind of quiet, something more unnatural. A pressure, like the walls were swallowing everything. Basements usually hum with life from the house above. You hear plumbing, voices, movement, but this one didn't. It was like someone hit mute on the entire world. Luke, always the optimist, made a joke about recording music down there. Perfect acoustics, he said. I tried to smile, but I just kept rubbing my arms. It wasn't cold, but it felt like it should be. That heavy kind of stillness, like the air wasn't breathing. 3 days in, Luke started having trouble sleeping. He said he kept waking up at exactly 3:11 a.m. Not from nightmares, but because something felt off. That's how he described it. Off, like the room didn't belong to him anymore. Like something else was in it, waiting for him to notice. I laughed at first. I mean, we were stressed. Moving, new routines, old habits breaking apart. That kind of thing messes with your head, but then it happened to me. I woke up one night, eyes wide open at exactly 3:11. The room was pitch black, but I felt it. The air was thick, like I was underwater. I couldn't move, couldn't blink, and I knew, completely, without question, that someone was standing at the foot of my bed, just watching. My breath caught. The silence had this low hum beneath it like static. It made my skin crawl. When I finally reached the lamp and flipped it on, there was nothing. Just my room. Just stillness. But that feeling stayed. I couldn't shake it. There was a hallway in the back of the apartment, short and narrow, leading to the storage closet. We never used it, didn't need the space, but the light in that hallway flickered constantly, like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be on or off. It wasn't just annoying, it was wrong. The whole hallway felt off. I'd walk past and get this horrible sensation in my spine, like something was watching me through the walls, not behind me, inside the wall. One morning, I found Luke standing in the hallway barefoot, staring at the closet door. He didn't move when I called his name, just stood there, swaying slightly. I asked him if he was okay. No answer. When I touched his shoulder, he flinched hard, like I'd yanked him out of some nightmare. Then he blinked, looked at me, and just walked away. No words. Nothing. 2 nights later, the silence started buzzing. Not loudly, just at the edge of hearing, like a distant TV left on in another room. A low, constant hiss just under the surface of everything. We thought it was electrical. We unplugged everything. The fridge, the Wi-Fi router, even turned off the breaker for the whole unit. But the sound didn't stop. In fact, it seemed louder when everything else was off. That's when Luke really started to change. He'd lie on the floor, pressing his ear to the carpet. Said he could hear them talking. When I asked who, he looked up at me and said, "They want you too. They just haven't figured you out yet." I didn't know if he was joking. I hoped he was joking. But his eyes were different, hollow, like something behind them was unraveling. Luke stopped going to work, started staying in his room for hours, not answering texts or knocks. I left food outside his door, and sometimes it stayed untouched. When I did get him to speak, he kept saying the same thing. "They're louder in here." I asked who they were, and he just stared at me, then whispered, "The ones behind the wall." One night, I woke up, and he was in my room, standing inches from my face in the dark. I didn't hear him come in. I just opened my eyes and he was there. He said, "They don't like the lights. That's why they wait until 3:11. I sat up, heart racing, but he just turned and left, like it was the most normal thing in the world. The next morning, I snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. The static, the dark, the hallway light flickering. That damn closet. I grabbed a screwdriver and forced the closet door open. It was stuck like it hadn't moved in years. Took me 5 minutes to wedge it loose. But what was behind the door wasn't storage, it was drywall. A blank wall, 6 inches behind the frame. Except it wasn't blank, it was scratched. Deep grooves, over and over, all across the surface, like fingernails clawing endlessly. Some scratches had blood in them, old, brown, dried, and in the center, etched deeper than the rest, was a single word: stay. I slammed the door shut and backed away, heart pounding. I didn't sleep that night, didn't speak to Luke. I just sat on the couch waiting for dawn. After that, Luke went totally silent. He stopped talking, just stared, sat in the kitchen for hours, unmoving, as if listening to something only he could hear. I found him crouched by the closet again, whispering through the crack in the door. I couldn't make out the words, but he sounded like he was begging. I pulled him away, and he started sobbing, collapsed in my arms like a child. Through the tears, he whispered, "They said I could leave if I give them you." Then he started laughing, a high, broken laugh that didn't sound like him, and he kept laughing, even after I dragged him to his room and locked the door behind him. The next day, I'd had enough. I packed a bag, booked a cheap hotel, and told myself I was leaving that night. No goodbyes, no explanations. The moment I stepped outside, it was like the world changed. The air felt lighter, colors looked brighter. I could breathe again. I didn't realize how heavy the apartment had been until I was gone, but halfway down the street I remembered. I'd forgotten my phone. I almost kept walking. Almost, but something pulled me back. I told myself I'd just grab it and go. 2 minutes, that's it. I unlocked the door and stepped inside, and the silence hit me like a wall. No buzz of life, no light, no warmth, just that familiar, suffocating stillness. The hallway light flickered once, then died. The static in the air roared to life. I turned to leave, but the hallway was longer. It had grown. It stretched toward me like a tunnel. The walls looked warped, pulsing slightly, and the closet door was open. Something waited inside. I don't remember what happened next, just black. When I came to, I was on the floor of the living room. The door to the closet was gone, not closed, gone, sealed over with fresh drywall. Perfect. Smooth, like it had never been there. And Luke was gone. I called his name for hours, searched every inch. Nothing, not a trace, not even his clothes, just gone. Eventually, someone must have called the landlord, complained about the smell. The police broke in. They found me curled in the hallway, eyes wide, whispering the same words over and over. "It's in the walls. It's in the walls." That was 3 years ago. I moved back in with my parents. I don't go out much. I take medication. I see doctors. They say it was a shared delusion, folie, deux, a shared psychosis, that Luke had a mental break, and I got pulled into it through stress and isolation. It's happened before, apparently, in twins, in cults. They think that explains it, but they never found Luke, and they never explained the voices I still hear every morning at 3:11. Not dreams, voices, soft and distant, whispering through the walls. Sometimes I hear my name, sometimes I hear Luke, sometimes I hear scratching. I haven't opened a closet door in 3 years, and sometimes I wake up with blood under my nails, with scratches on my bedroom wall, and just once, I swear I saw that word again, faintly scratched into the paint. Stay. If you ever find yourself in a place where the silence buzzes, where the air feels too still and the lights don't trust themselves, leave, even if it begs you to stay, especially if it begs, because sometimes the house isn't haunted, sometimes the house is hungry.